Thank you very much, Madam Senator. A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, Your Excellency, and thank you for the invite. I see a lot of members of Parliament. It's my first time to be in your presence, but soon we're visiting you too from CMA. CMA Certified Mediators and Advisory Board. Your Excellency, we're here because of the great work that you have done. And this is simply because of you being yourself. We have lost great leaders who should be bringing peace in our communities just simply because they want power. And the society feels like if we have more leaders like you still around, that kind of humanity in you, that kind of way to lead the rest of the people should be passed on to the younger leaders or the younger generation of leadership that is coming. Recently, CMA held the very first social gathering when the Gen Zs woke us up. And we spoke a lot with most of their leaders. We also managed to meet other leaders on the political side, because our main goal, or the biggest objective for CMA, is to build a bridge between society and governance. And the name that kept coming on and on as the only man respected in politics, at the same time by the society, is you, Your Excellency, Kalonzo. Keep it up, sir. And the award is here just for that. Kindly keep it up. Let the other leaders learn from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam. Now I want to invite Mr. Tom Aosa, the President of National Community-Based Organization Council. Karibu, Tom, and give your remarks.
My name is Tom Aosa from the National Council of CBOs. Your Excellency, I'm very proud to be here to talk to you today and to see you in person. I've been seeing you in news and in many good things that we've been doing. What you did in Southern Sudan that brought us to this point is a regional thing that made Kenyans very proud and people all over the world about your participation in that process of bringing peace and eventually freedom, or people getting their country from the other side. We have been having a lot of consultations before you were chosen as the winner of this award. Many names came up. Very senior names, I don't want to mention them. But then all the committees of researchers that we had settled on your name, and we were going by the points of whoever is mentioned. We did that within a month, but we did extensive research. Many people won this award, including Pierre Lumumba, Senator Okia Mtata, Koki Muli, Doctor and Ambassador, and many other people. The TNC also, we had Anifa Hadan won the award, and many other people won this award. This was the first award in East Africa, and this is a regional award that will be given to winners annually. This was the first one, and we are very proud to have had you as part of the winners and the highest respected winner in that case. As the society, as a leader of CBOs, we have CBOs all over every village, I expect, even from where all of us come from. And we have our leadership also. It's assisted a lot in coming up with the people in the society, which works, who works for the society and deserves this award. In mediation society, in the mediation area, the people in the slums and in our villages need this mediation more than ever before. We have 60,000 prisoners in Kenya. Half of them are in there because of petty crimes, which they could not even have gotten to police station. They could have mediated within themselves to make sure that they solve it and move on. We cannot have children who are around 17 years and 18 years in prison because maybe even the fine they were given is 3,000, but the family cannot afford. So they end up doing the case for 10 years. They cannot attend school. Their active age is gone because of things we could have sorted otherwise within the family. As a CPO council leader, I've had a discussion with CMA to have our people from the villages trained. They will cater for the training cost so that mediation can start from the grassroots and change the lives of people. We have 3,000 women in prison. Half of them are under the age of 30 years old. They need to start families. How can they start families in prison? We have kids who have been born in prison, raised in prison because of their parents or the mother was involved in a very petty crime, which otherwise they forgave each other back home, but still the case is in court because it's now at the level where law is applied. It is difficult to mediate within them. I stand here believing that this is the beginning of serious mediation and peace within the communities. I also believe in you because you have members in parliament, you have members in the Senate, like this friend of mine here, serious senators you have in parliament. There is a way you can pass the message we have through your members of parliament. We all know what is happening in Kenya today politically, but having you and you have a team behind you, civil society has different voices coming from every quarter, very good voices, but the voices are not coordinated. So we're even thinking, can we as civil society come together and form a certain union that can pass the message we have to you so that you can use your parliamentarians and senators to implement or protect the parliament so that we have our voices heard. Approaching individual members of parliament becomes very difficult. We have a few options. One of it is to come up with a shadow cabinet of civil society. That does not stop you from having you as an opposition leader. But ours is to consolidate the good voices of the GNCs, the other civil society leaders, so that we give to you as a document that can be discussed at a level where decisions are made. I hope with those few remarks, I want to thank you so much for creating time to come and receive this award. And I will invite my partner, senior partner, CMA, Evelyn Wright, to come with the award so that we can award His Excellency. Is he supposed to talk first?
Yes, yes. Your Excellency, I'd kindly request you join us to receive this award.
Looks very, very nice. Okay, where do I? Yeah.
Stand there. He has to be in the middle.
I'll be in the middle.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Here. Okay.
The wires are everywhere.
So I go ahead and. Thank you. Wow. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Wow. You can say a word or two.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow, it's actually written. Regional conflict mediator. And my name. And actually 5 stars. 5 stars. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and Madam Evelyn Bright, I like the name. Yeah, and then Ausa. This gentleman is in charge of 72,000 CBOs in the country. And how they managed to do this it remains a mystery. And CMA, it's amazing that you're doing this for the first time. We congratulate you. And I also want to congratulate my fellow awardees in the various categories. And I'm sure that I would have loved to join them at the Serena, but there was a bit of a mix-up. We were ready to go to Radisson Blue, then it was changed to Serena. Be that as it may, we have a country to think about, to love, to uphold the principles that hold us together, basically the rule of law. And we have a region that is in dire need of mediation And even before you go to the region, the country itself. I happen to be a certified mediator myself, and I went through a mediation course. And I'm sure that may not have been captured. But people remember that when we were given some jobs to do by two presidents, President Daniel Arap Moi that time as a young foreign minister, and if you allow me to mention Evelyn, you just mentioned to me that your grandmother is a famous Elizabeth Bagaya, who served as foreign minister in Uganda. And now she's doing regional work, literally. Can somebody hold this for me? Now that I've taken possession. So you see, you have that DNA of working for regional well-being, the integration of East Africans. I gather from Evelyn that the next stop will be Dar es Salaam in February, and that we want to bring on board people like my friend Jakaya Kikwete and others. And I remember that Kenyans and East Africans will have forgotten that I was actually given the responsibility by Bayao, believe it or not, by three presidents, President Yoweri Museveni, President Moi, and President Ali Hassan Mwinyi, to jumpstart the East African community. That time it was just cooperation. And I was the first chair of that ministerial tripartite commission. My colleagues were president at that time. Foreign Minister of Tanzania was Rigathi Kikwete had not even been appointed foreign minister. And Rugunda, who later became Prime Minister of Uganda, was also the foreign minister of Uganda. We worked with speed because we recognize East Africans made a terrible mistake when the East African community collapsed in 1977. Again, unknown to Kenyans and East Africans, Europe borrowed heavily a kind of example. And they went on to build today, you talk about European Union. First of all, it was a commission, the Union. And on our part, we decided because of lack of political will, that time, remember President Milton Obote that time, Mwalimu Nyerere, Mzee Kenyatta, you recall, even today, sometimes Tanzanians wonder how it happened because we took hold of Kenya Airways, East African Airways and things, and even the division of assets was a big issue. But now, the younger generation is coming of age, the Gen Zs, because now I think our responsibility as senior leaders is to prepare this country and hand it over properly to the next generation. So we applaud our young leaders, the Gen Zs, who decided, hey, you will not take our country from us and escape. We will be hard. Therefore, Anifa, who was one of the recipients, is she on the way? Yeah, if she's here, we want to celebrate Anifa. She told the police to their face. And even as we speak, those issues have not been sorted. We heard from this administration of William Ruto that they were going to compensate the youths who lost their lives. The families are still waiting. No compensation, no talk even, no indication whatsoever that you are willing to talk to these parents. Well, I think it is important. Justice demands that we don't make promises that we can't keep or we don't intend to keep. They just wanted an escape route, which they got. Some of us afforded them an escape route, and then they got all of it. And in fact, some of us who belong to the Azimio family are benefiting from the blood and the sweat of the many Kenyans who came to the streets, and the whole world stood still and took notice of the Gen Z revolt and movement. In my view, that revolution continues. until these things are sorted out, and Kenya is made to live peaceably with each other. Remember, I think it's in the book of Ephesians, where the Bible tells us, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. Leaders, we will be there looking for votes and calling each other names. But remember, we have a country. We are all, at the end of the day, Kenyans, East Africans, and members of the world community. Therefore, the example of the Gen Z and the millennials. By the way, they are the ones who came out in Botswana hardly 2 weeks ago. The Gen Zs and the millennials came out. So, I think it's within the mediation spirit to ask this administration to give IDs to these young Kenyans, because they want to come and teach some people a lesson of their lives. Like they did in Botswana, where the ruling party that time, the president who did one term, and if you look at what happened in Botswana, you can almost see exactly what has happened in Kenya. The president who was driven out by the Gen Zs and the millennials was torturing his predecessor Ian Khan, I think that's the name. Yeah, and in fact that president escaped. Former president went to South Africa on exile. And then you preach hatred. Again, remember the biblical principle. You kill by the sword, you die by the sword. So there's so much. When God gives us bread, let us live peaceably with each other. Don't punish your opponents. You know now, there are business people in this country who cannot dare to be identified with the opposition because they know the KRA people will be on their case tomorrow. Yani watu wanaishi kwa woga. So we must say no to fear. In a democracy, you cannot have that principle of fear and call yourself a democratic state. Therefore, the Gen Z said, whether we die, they were almost like Paul, who wrote and said, for me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. They said to die is gain. So we have to redeem this land. So that blood cannot have been shed in vain. In 2023, at these grounds, after the demonstrations, the churches in Nairobi could not even allow us to hold some requiem mass for the almost 70 young people who died. So we had to put a tent here. You may remember media colleagues that we were putting wreaths here. Former President Uhuru was here, Raila was here, I was here, and other leaders. We couldn't even be allowed to bury those young people decently. And we ferried them to Siaya, to Makueni. We ferried them. And then a repeat of 2024, this time led by the Gen Zs. So there's time now, there's need for us to talk mediation and ability to live together as Kenyans. Though we will disagree, as indeed we ought to in a democracy, but let us remember that what is it that is the nexus holding us together? Our Constitution 2010, bequeathed to us by President Kibaki. At least hold that. Let's hold to that constitutionalism, that sense of constitutionalism and the rule of law. And when we say tumeumizana, people should be to say sorry literally and do something about it. We will on Friday here be addressing a very critical issue because our research team is on it. So media, don't be tired. We want to talk about this vaccination of 22 million cows. Mutashangaa kabisa the reason behind it. People using climate change debate say our cows produce methane gas, which is okay, our cows, right? And because of the clever Kenyans actually do biogas, they cook with it. Now they want to vaccinate our cows in order to stop producing. Yeah, can you imagine? Because they say you offend the ozone layer, and to use Kenya as a guinea pig. So after this vaccination of 22 million cattle, we will be eating meat that has been genetically modified. It's not enough that they have lifted the orders on GMO and we have gone to the appeal court. GMO imekubalika. We need therefore this mediation spirit in us so we know, tell each other the truth. So this is really, come to think of it, this is dangerous stuff. But we'll be talking about it on Friday. When Jeremiah Kioni kept on talking about this over the weekend, I was wondering, what is Kioni talking about? Until the reality has hit me. So, we will say a polite and firm no to some of these machinations. And we'll ask our people. By saying no, you're not saying you don't belong to Kenya, you want to immigrate. No, this is the only land. This is our land. Yeah. In the book of Isaiah, Kenyans have tried to identify where Kenya is. The land beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. So this land is important. Kwa hivyo mimi nawashukuru sana. I don't know whether it will be in order for me to ask one or two of my colleagues. Yeah, Paloma. We take a picture first. We face that way. So you want us to turn the chairs? The front. Okay. I really hope Aniva could be here in time. Okay, so I award my present again. I need it. Anifa Ajafika.
How far is he?
She's by the gate. Let me ask.
By the gate, she's there.
You know, this again is the Law Society.
Yes, justice.
Justice. Let justice reign,
yes.
like rain. And balance yourselves. Thank you. Robert, maybe Robert could join us somewhere.
We come in the,
Robert is the deputy minority leader. Actually, deputy majority.
Yeah.
Oh, we come here.
Yeah, these leaders have come. Acha mambo yao to come and wamepanda ile. Bosibori, jump into this. Mzee hiyo namba nne. The only trouble is his name is Zakayo.
He's a good Zakayo.
Nawashukuruni sana. Thank you. Thank you.